He was there for over half a decade. He has a bachelor's degrees in mathematics and physics from the U of M and a master's degree from the University of the American University in Washington, D.C. Great experience that he brings to us from the city, and we're extremely pleased to have him on board. I was given staff direction at the last meeting to keep the audit committee appraised of the state auditor findings update. So these are the findings from the state audit's report on the city's consolidated annual financial review. And I've been working closely with Connie Griffith, the controller, and her team to keep a pulse on where the city is in addressing these issues. After I go through this quickly, I will also ask for your feedback on whether or not this is enough information for the committee itself, or if you guys would like a little bit more. There were 10 findings, and on this slide, I've listed all 10 of them. Their identifier number in the state auditor's report, which is the year that it first showed up on the report, and then just the order that it showed up on the report. And in the second column is the status of that. I would like to also update you that the audit adjustments, which is the third bullet point down, is corrected. This is kind of a work in progress. It's making all the appropriate financial or accounting adjustments that the state auditor finds in their report. So there were a couple accounting errors that were found, and those were corrected immediately. So this is more of a work in progress. It's a bit of a typo there. So as we can see, 5 of these have been addressed, and the other 5 will be coming in the future. The Loan C documentation, the second bullet, is really around mid-year 2017, and that's because of some system implementations that we're looking forward to potentially happening, and so that will be the actual addressing of the root cause of this issue, and that's why that one is so far outstanding. Other ones like the network and system access termination are similar to what we've talked about in our records management report. And there are a couple others that prompt payment of invoices is another you'll see on the end, where mid next year they have that plan to be remediated. Again, the prompt payment of invoices is important because the city likes to ensure that we're using a diverse pool of vendors, and that we're addressing equity issues there. But if we have troubles paying them timely, it can cause some consternation on their end. This isn't just a finance issue. I think it's another enterprise issue, like I mentioned before. If a department gets an invoice but they fail to get it to finance timely, then there's little finance can really do about it. So it's part of this is awareness as well, and some of that takes time. Any questions on that or feedback on the level of information?
Committee members, is this the level of detail that you're comfortable seeing?
That's right.
Super. Thank you.
Yep. Next, an audit plan update. So as you remember, you approved a 2015 audit plan, and I think at each internal or audit committee meeting we talked about the ability for that to be somewhat of a dynamic plan so that we can address risk appropriately. So on here, I've listed the projects that have been completed to date. So we have police body camera pilot program, purchasing card policies and procedures consultation, records management audit, complaint protocol consultation, and the finance internal controls monitoring consultation. Projects that are in progress as of now are a human resources personnel file maintenance and retention audit, the NCR programming and support program audit that you're all aware of, police records management implementation consultation. This is a implementation that will happen over 2016 and potentially into 2017. So this will be in progress for some time. A CPED loan program audit, which is relatively new, and the enterprise land management system implementation consultation. That consultation was pushed out to implementation about a year from now. So this will stay on the report a little bit as well, or on the progress. We have a few projects that have been deferred, and the police risk management and quality assurance consultation, we covered that last time. It's still deferred, and we're in discussions with the police department on how to address that. To remind you, they planned on putting together a team within the police department to evaluate certain things like training, equipment checkout, scheduling, so they could stay appraised of some of those areas. They wanted to hire someone to sort of create that team and wanted our help in establishing some of how they might do that testing and collect evidence and so forth. But they weren't able to fill that position. The risk still exists and everyone's aware of it. So an audit wouldn't really give us anything new. So we're still in discussions with the police department on what we could potentially do there. The second is permits, inspections, and licensing. We started the planning of this audit over the summer and got the planning phase done with it, but then the CPED loan audit we felt was a higher priority. So we talked to the groups that were involved in the audit of the permits, inspections, and licenses and let them know that we would defer this audit until later, and they were pleased with that communication. Lastly, governance of third parties. This was on our audit plan for this year, and it was probably a little bit ambitious. The whole idea of this is to both get a gauge of how well the city is tracking vendors, strategic partners, other entities that we fund either in whole or in part, and make sure that we consider those enough to identify the ones that we need to be watching or monitoring for either a couple different aspects. One of those being the ease of replacement. So vendors that are really difficult to replace are probably ones that we want to pay a little bit more attention to, and the complexity of the services that they provide. And so there's a couple different, two different topics, but several different ways to think about how to rank those. And so a couple things that we want to do are to go through most of the departments, get a starting point for the different third parties that the city has, and then give departments tools to use to be able to rank their own sort of universe of third parties and think about those in a way so they can monitor them more effectively further on. Any questions on the audit plan updates?
Mr. Tetzel, thank you. I appreciate the dynamic way that we work with our work plan now, how we can deprioritize things that maybe can wait and bring up others where we see higher risk. Any thoughts or questions from committee members? Nope. With that completed, may I have a motion to receive and file this update from our internal auditor? It's been moved to receive and file these reports. We won't be sending these to full council. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and the reports will be received and filed. With that, colleagues, we've completed all the items on our agenda. I have one announcement. Today is Mr. Mark Ois's birthday.
Oh.
And while we don't have any gifts to present, that's not allowed here, we do have a substantive, healthy audit meeting here and some meaty reports to be your gift. You've had input in your civic engagement here about this, and this is in part because of how you've championed this committee over time. So happy birthday, Mr. Oyas. We hope it's wonderful. Seeing no further,
Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Seeing no further business to be presented, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.